Hi, Tim Unkert here, and in this video we are going to make this landing page with Tailwind CSS. So this is similar to a landing page I made yesterday with Bootstrap 5 and Sass. This one has a fixed navigation bar, a little unicorn here, bigger unicorn here. Just says Tim Web, has a little description there. Then we have another section here, and then we have a third section here with a contact form here, and a little footer here. And we're going to build this. This is responsive, so if we bring it down to small level and we hit the menu, you'll see that we have this menu that comes up like that. And this, these two things are next to each other. They stack vertically on top of each other. The contact form spans across like so. Okay. So that's what we're going to be creating today, and we're going to be using Tailwind CSS to do it. So we are going to get started with Tailwind CSS. We're going to run a node command from the Node Package Manager to install Tailwind CSS. So you do want to have Node installed. So if you are confused about installing that, I'll include a link to a video that I made on installing TypeScript, where the first part of the video I install Node because you need the Node to install the TypeScript. So if you watch that, that'll help. Okay, so anyways, I'm going to make a directory called Tailwind CSS landing page, if I can type. And then I'm going to change the directory into the Tailwind CSS landing page. Okay, and then I'm going to run npm install Tailwind CSS. Okay. And so we see the message, we've added 135 packages, and there we go. So let's just look at our packages. So we have some node modules, a package.json, a package lock.json. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at this a little bit. We're going to click on Get Started, and we're going to go to the docs here. Scroll on down. Okay. And what I want to do is create a config file also. So I'm going to open up NeoVim, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go, and actually I'm not going to do that. I'm going to open up a terminal, okay, and I'm going to run this command npx tailwind css init. So npx tailwind css init. Okay. And you'll see the message that I created the Tailwind CSS config file, tailwind.config.js. Okay, now I'm going to exit out of the terminal. Go back up here. That's not what we want. Let me just quit out and restart. Hold on. Let's just check. Okay, now I see that I have my config file. And if I go here, we notice we don't have anything under purge. So when we're in development mode, we're not going to put anything in the purge just yet, but you'll see that it creates a huge CSS file. Okay, so what we want to do is we eventually want to, near the end of this, we want to cut that down using this config file so we can strip out the CSS elements that we don't need. Okay, I'm going to bring back up the terminal here for a moment, and we'll go down here. And actually, before I do that, let me exit out of here. Before I do that, let me go up to here. I'm going to make a directory called public. Okay, so I now have this public directory. Within the public directory, I'm going to create an index.html file. Okay, so I'm going to do that. All right, so we see we have our index.html. And then let me just bring up a terminal again. And now we're going to run a command. If we scroll down here a bit, we see this command npx tailwind css-o tailwind.css. And so I'm just going to change that slightly. So I'm going to write npx tailwind CSS, then the .o is the output, and that's going to be the public folder, and I'm going to just go with tailwind.css, okay? And I'm going to run this, and this will take a few moments to do this. And it's working. Keep in mind, I'm on a Chromebook with a small amount of RAM, so it took about 11 seconds to do. All right, so now we're going to exit out of the terminal, okay, and bring this back up, go to my public, and actually I'm going to have to quit out. So let me just restart again, go back up here into the public. We see we have this tailwind.css file. Now, if we take a look at this and I type Shift-G to go to the bottom, you'll notice I'm on the 188,036 line, okay? So this is a huge CSS file. So what we're going to do when we compile it at the end, that's why we're going to create that, go into the config file and purge out some of the stuff, okay? But for right now, we're just doing it as a build, so it's all right, okay? I'm just going to go GG to get back up top, and then Control WW to get over here. And we're going to start on our index.html page, okay? All right, so let's do that. Close this out. I'm going to go to insert mode and use Emmet to expand a simple HTML structure, bring in the viewport meta tag with Emmet. Whoops. Okay, also let's give it a description. We'll call this a Tailwind CSS landing page. I'm not being very original, so I'm just going to title it Tailwind CSS. Now we are making a web design company, so a fake one. So we could go Tim Web Design Co. And actually, we put the home before that. So we'll do home Tim Web Design Co. Pretty cool. All right. So there's a couple things I did here, and I did a little bit of customization. So what I'm going to do is kind of be sneaky. Well, first off, what I'm going to do is put in a link to my CSS sheet, style sheet. So I used Emmet to expand that. Now we don't want style.css. What we want is, whoops, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay. Okay. What we want to do is we want to bring in Tailwind CSS. So I'm just going to type tailwind.css. Okay. So that's our file. But I also added a little bit of CSS in the head of the document. So I'm going to just make a script, no, not a script tag, a style tag, and use Emmet to expand, and we're going to have our two style tags. And then within our style tags, I came up with some colors, all right? And those colors were based off the pictures I got from Undraw. And I came up with some Tailwind-y type of styles. You'll get it once I start going. But my styles are BG, background, light blue is what this one stands for. And we have a background color it's going to be 6 C6 3FF. Okay, close that one out. And actually, I'm going to just go ahead and yank this. No, I'm not going to do that. Hold on. Let me yank this and paste it. And instead of LB, we're going to have light red, which I actually didn't use, but whatever. All right, so let's put in that color, even though I didn't actually ever go with it in the end. Maybe you'll like it. So 6584. Okay, we'll go down. That's not what I want to do. Okay, bear with me. I'm just working through this. All right, so the next background is BG-DG, okay? And the way I came up with that is dark gray. All right, so this is a dark gray background. And I am all over the place tonight with my NeoVim. The lighting isn't that great in here. So anyways, that's my excuse. All right, so this one is, let's see, 514 E64, okay? So we got one more of these to do. Let's yank that, paste it. And this next one is BG-LBG, okay? So LBG, add that there. Okay, and that one is going to be F2, 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 okay, which is one we used yesterday, actually. So it's that same color. All right, so I'm going to go up here and copy all of these and go down here and paste them. And then what I'm going to do is take out the background part. So and I probably could do this faster using a macro. What am I doing? The terminal thing. Okay, and I want to get rid of the background color, so I am going to use a macro to get rid of the background color. So let's do Q, W, recording on W, go to the beginning, first occurrence of B. We'll delete the word, delete the letter. Then we'll go 1, 2, 3, and we'll stop recording. I'm going to do 3 at W, and there we go. Okay, so that's a nice way we can get that quick. So now we've got 4 backgrounds defined, 4 background colors, and 4 regular colors defined based off the background colors. Okay, so now I would probably at the end take this out of the head and put it in the style sheet that is generated by Tailwind CSS. That's probably the best way to do it. I might do that today. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to start in our body, and we're going to give the body a class, or I gave it a class with BG light background. So that was a light color, okay? And then in here, I'm going to start with my navbar. So I'm just going to make a comment, navbar begin, or something along those lines. All right, and let me scroll up a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. And we're going to start with, let's see, a div. And this is, you're going to see there's going to be a ton of classes here when you use Tailwind CSS. And I'll kind of explain in a moment what's going on. So div class, I'm going to use my background DG, dark gray. It's a fixed class. That's how we get the fixed menu. Width is full. Okay, that's all the way across. Okay. Next, we're going to have a div with a class max width screen dash XL. So that's like 1200 and something pixels. Then we're going to have padding Y of 8. So that's a certain amount of rem. I can show you where to find these because there's a whole bunch of these. Padding X 8. Background DG, dark gray. MX auto, that centers it on the x-axis. Flex, that gives it flex class. Small breakpoint, so when it goes above small screens, I want to have flex. So I did that twice. I don't know why I did that. But small, when it goes above small screens, we're going to justify between. That's going to split my logo and put my other part of the menu on the right-hand side. So that's why I did that. And then on small screens, after small screens, the max height is going to be 20. That is another height class. It's a certain amount of rem that they use for that. Okay. All right. So inside of that div, we're going to have a div with an ID of logo. This is where my logo is going to go. Class is going to be hidden. Now this is on small screens, but then once you get above small screens, so once you get above that small breakpoint, the display is going to be block, and that's how you do it in Tailwind CSS. Okay, inside of that, we're going to have an image with a class of H12. That's a certain height. W12, inline block. Now these are all Tailwind CSS type stuff. Negative margin top of 4. So you can do negative margins. Then my source is going to be, and we don't have this photo yet, but it's going to be images/unicorn.svg. I'll show you where to get these in a moment. I'm going to put some alt text in there, as you always should, something like Tim's web design. Okay. And I'm also going to put a title. So when you hover over it, a little title comes up. So a little hover up comes up. So it's going to be Tim's Web Design Co. Something like that. Okay, for the title. And then I actually put 2 spaces. I hard-coded them in. And after that, we're going to have a span with a class of that LBG, that's that light color that I came up with, text. So that's not, the first one is not a Tailwind CSS class. And then 2XL, that is a Tailwind CSS class. Padding on the x-axis 2, so that's a certain amount of rem. Inline block. And then we also have negative MT-4, so that negative margin. That's going to just say Tim Web, and we're going to close our span, okay? And then after that, we're going to close this first div, okay? Then we're going to have an unordered list. This is going to be the rest of the nav menu. And I didn't actually link any of these. I just did list items. So it's just, this is just for presentational purposes using Tailwind CSS, so you can get a feel for it. So I have a link with an ID of menu, okay? And then I have a class. The first class is going to be cursor pointer. So that's like in your CSS where you do cursor pointer. And I have LBG, text-XL. So that's a certain sizing of the text. There's a whole bunch. Inline block, okay? And then after small screens, this is going to be hidden, okay? So this part is the actual, the little thing, the menu that comes up. Let me show you. So right now, you don't see it. We have our menu, right? But when I go to a small screen, you see this menu thing come up. That's what we're doing right now, okay? All right, so let's get back to that. We're going to have a JavaScript function just to get the functionality to make that work. So I'm just going to type on click. That's what I used for this. We're going to do toggle. I called it toggle menu, and we'll make that in a little bit. And then we're inside of the list item. The text is going to be menu. Okay. I didn't go with the hamburgers, partly because I was wrestling a little bit with the transform rotate. So normally I do like 3 of the vertical lines and then rotate it 90 degrees. I wasn't getting that to work with this, so I just went with menu. Okay, so that's, I'll admit that. All right, Next, we're going to have, these are going to be 4 list items. They're all going to be the same. So I'm going to type this out and then copy the line. So first class is going to be padding on the y-axis 4, LBG color. After small screens, these are going to display as inline block. Padding on the X of 2. After small screens, these are going to display as block. They are hidden before that. And then after small screens, we're going to have padding Y go to 8. Okay, so, and then we're going to close that out. We're going to have 4 of these. All right, so I'm going to yank, and then paste. Okay, going up. And let's put in our various things here. So we're going to have our home. Then we're going to have our about. Whoops. Then we have contact. And then finally blog. Okay. And we'll close out that unordered list. Close out the div. Close out the next div, which is the end of our nav bar. And then let's just make a note that this is the end of the nav bar. Okay. Okay. So let's bring up that file and take a look at what we've got so far. So this was under projects, Tailwind CSS, landing page. We're going into the public folder. This is the only stuff we'd be putting onto a server. Okay. And okay, so far, meh. And I may have messed up on the color because these colors, I don't know, the colors do look the same. Okay, so we got to fix this up a little bit. Get the picture working. Let's get that picture. So let's go to undraw.co and we'll browse for our unicorn. So I'm going to search, type in unicorn, and let's download that. Okay, I'm going to show it in the folder. Just to make it, you've seen I download this before. Just to make it easier. Fine. I'm just going to copy it and then I'll change it. All right, I got to delete some of those. Okay, so we're going to the public. We want to create a folder called images. So let's do that because I did say it was in a folder called images. Let's paste in our unicorn and let's just rename it unicorn. Okay, and let's see where we're at. Okay, and our menu is down on this side. So let me take a look and see. I think there must be something I need to fix a little bit with that. Let's take a look. I'm guessing we missed something. This is why I do a little debugging with this. We've got quite a bit of different little classes, which can make it a little bit difficult. So, you know what I'm going to do? All right, I'm going to change this to padding Y of 2. Let's try that. Okay, so going to go to the beginning, look for the first occurrence of 4, replace that with 2, and then go down 1. Okay, we'll do that 3 times. Okay, and let's save that and just take a look. And we refreshed it, and it's still way down here. Huh. Okay, that was not the problem. I know what I did. Yeah. So, yeah, I made a mistake here. So what I did, and I should change those padding wise back to 4. So actually, let me do that. So, so we'll go to the first occurrence of 2, replace it with 4, go down 1, do that 3 times. Okay, we'll fix that. All right, then we're going to go up here, and we're going to fix the padding y-8 at the end, the sm : padding y-8 to 0. That's what I changed, okay? And I was looking at the screen. I thought it was 8. It was not, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Q to start recording the macro. W. I'm going to record it on W. Hit 0 to go to the beginning of the line. Look for the first occurrence of 8. Replace that with 0. Then go down. Hit Q to stop recording, and then do 3 at W, and it changed it all. Okay, and then I'm going to save. Okay, and so now that brings it back up, and we're looking good. If you look at this, okay, they match. That's always a plus. All right. So I think this is a good point to actually stop this video after we did the nav bar in Tailwind CSS. You can see that we do have some complexity with the amount of classes that we're adding. Tailwind, you're adding a lot of classes right into the HTML. So it's a little different than your typical way of doing it, but you can get a ton of customization doing that way. And stay tuned for the next video, because we're going to continue with the hero section. If you like this video, please hit the like button, smash that like button actually, and subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications, as it really helps the channel grow and helps me to continue making web development videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If I can stop this.